Let me start out by giving my condolences to two families, the Iwuanyanwu family in Imo State and the Ifeanyi Ubah family in Nnewi. Folks, before we sign up to die in Igbo leaders' wars, let's carefully listen to a man who stuck his neck out for Senator Ifeanyi Ubah. But even before I play that, let me clearly say, may Senator Ifeanyi Ubah's soul rest in peace.
Let me hold you there, Dr. Maduka. Now, this is a man who has been accused of 22.4 billion naira in full subsidy scam, and obviously is up to debt in $1 billion to banks and so many businesses. And you were warned, and like they say, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Yeah. However, I see that you're a very sentimental and very loving person. And
when I confronted Ifeanyi about his situation, he told some pathetic story. One of them is that he played a tribal sentiment to me. He said he came to Lagos. I know how our people struggle. He had this jetty in Apapa where 3 vessels can bat. And that, look at all these people in this business, Femi Otodola, this other person, all integrated oil, that all of them had only 1 jetty. And all the people in this area were crazy. How can an Igbo man come here and have 3 jetty that leads apart? That's why they want to stagnate him to death.
And I'm sure you took him on because you trusted he would pay back.
Sure.
Now, at what point did he begin to default?
So, I wanted to start just by 1 cargo. That is a vessel load. A vessel load of this petroleum premium spirit costs only about $30 to $35 million. We did the first one. The first consignment arrived. If I say he will clean it in 38 days, within 32 days he paid. We did the second one, he paid. We did the third one, he paid. Up to the 6th time, I didn't know it was a bet to get me into his hook. The dynamics of this transaction is that we appointed a receiver manager, that is not a receiver manager, but like an inspection agent called Vibrant Venture, who stay in their tank farm, and the complete tank is dedicated for our product, because this LC supposed to be paid by the proceeds of the sales. So the guarantee where the money was supposed to receive is in the same product. So when this LC is open, Ifeanyi will nominate a vessel to go and load and inform our agent. He will be on the board, then go offshore Cotonou or wherever. They load the product, come and discharge it in this dedicated tank. When it's in this tank, then as they sell the goods, money come into the bank. The bank will give authority to the agent to release cargo to them. As the bank release to the agent release to him, and they are loading the individuals who had paid to drop out. 6 transactions followed the same pattern between July and October. By October, Ifeanyi then approached me with 7 documents worth over $200 and something million, saying, please, that there's going to be a deregulation. I have seen the way the other one happened. If I can please open this LC at once so that they can get this cargo. I said, how long will it take you to clean it? He said 70 days. And I went, signed on this, and the bank opened the LC for $278 million. And we're waiting for consignment till today. And up to today, the consignment did not come. So you say at what point? It's October. Because he had done 6 transactions successfully. That gave me confidence that this 6th transaction is actually in excess of over $200 million also. So that this is going to work out fine. So when we waited January, we didn't see goods getting to February. I told him, why not we cancel the unconfirmed LC? Because our idea was that as you pay money, we will add confirmation on that one. They accepted. We cancel the 3 other LC that worth about $90 million. He left the other remaining ones. Those are the things we are still talking about. Today, we cannot find this cargo. We don't know what Capital Oil has done with it. As I speak to you today, the account for this transaction is in debit of over 21 billion naira and accumulating interest of close to 380 million naira every month. If you leave it in 1 year, you're going to accumulate 3.8 billion. In another 2 years, we are getting to about 28 billion. If I just say, I will pay, I will pay. If I can't pay you, I'll take my life, I will pay.
There you have it. He didn't pay. Did he take his life? Now, let me clarify that. Those punches are not towards Senator Ifeanyi Ubah. Those punches are symbolic of the punches Nigerians need to develop to deal with our leaders who are misleading our country. Even in a solemn moment, we need to not let our emotions guide our judgment in demanding that we get accountability from those amongst us who the Lord has endowed to do the right thing for the people. May Senator Ifeanyi Ubah's soul rest in peace.
Enjoying. Let us thank God for the victory. Who is like unto thee, O Lord? Who is like unto thee, O Lord? Among the gods, Father, who is like thee? Glorious in holiness and fearful in praises, always doing wonders. Hallelujah. Who is like unto thee, O Lord? Who is like unto thee?
What a beautiful family, and what a beautiful song of praises to the Lord. That was barely 48 hours before Senator Ifeanyi Ubah died in London yesterday. And you may want to ask yourself, what was he doing in London? Nigerians, starving Nigerians, are planning a protest that will start on the 1st of August. The stories we've been hearing is that the leaders of Nigeria, the senators, the House of Rep members, the dubious business people, cabinet members are leaving Nigeria in droves. But as demonstrated by Ifeanyi Ubah, they are leaving Nigeria in droves with their wives and children so that the peons in Nigeria can be massacred by the police as usual, as they did at the Lekki toll gate during NSAS, while they go to London and Paris and New York and LA and cities, Dubai, cities around the world where things work, where leaders build things that work for their citizens to enjoy. But Nigeria's rich are leaving Nigeria to go get shelter in case Nigeria burns under these protests, rather than stay home to enact policies that will make life better for Nigerians. The same thing that happened to Ekweremadu, who was living large, and I have sympathy for his family, don't get me wrong. I even have sympathy for Ekweremadu, but I have to separate my emotions from my head. It is the policies that these people make, or lack thereof, in Nigeria that makes them keep running to London And as you guys are seeing lately, London giveth and London taketh. Hello, everybody. Once again, this is Fred Nwankwo coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bull Talk on Allen TV. And as usual, I like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, depending on where you are around the world. Before I go into the detail of my discussion today, let me explain my position to you. As a podcaster, and as a journalist, and as a writer, sometimes it's very difficult to come out and make my commentary, give my input on what goes on around me and what goes on in society. And because most of my discussion is on Nigeria, and Nigerians are not used to telling the truth to power. Nigerians worship power. Nigerians don't tell truth to power. I'm always quick to tell people who know me that I've never been poor in my life, but I've never been rich. I'm just an ordinary Fred. I say that to say that wealth doesn't flabbergast me. I admire wealthy people, but I admire wealthy people who acquired wealth the old-fashioned way. Wealthy people who earned it. But more importantly, wealthy people who serve humanity. Wealthy people who can come down to the level of everybody in society and walk away with those people feeling that this person is special to humanity. When I get involved in reading and observing people who are very wealthy, but you actually cannot find the source of the wealth, or you cannot see how they touch humanity in a meaningful way with the wealth, I see nothing to admire in it. A few days ago, Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu died. Emmanuel Iwuanyanwu, among so many achievements he had in life, was the chairman of Ohanaeze and Igbo at the time he died. Under his watch over Ohanaeze, and the ones before him, not just him, most Ohanaeze leaders, at least in the last 15, 20 years, under their watch and under Iwuanyawu's watch, Nnamdi Kanu continues to rot in Nigeria's jail for a crime they accused him of, and they can't find any evidence to keep him in jail. In the meantime, every time Iwuanyanwu came out, or as you'll find later, Ifeanyi Ubah, and the rest of the leaders, the so-called leaders in Igbo land, they walk around, they go on Channels TV and Arise TV and go to all these big events and rub shoulders with Tinubu and Akpabio and Adenuga and Otedola and Atoeze and just name them, Emeka Ofo. Name the Hausas and Fulanis that moved Nigeria. All these Igbo leaders rub shoulders with them. But they are not ashamed to know that Boko Haram leaders are being rehabilitated and funded And Sunday Igboho is out of jail, but their own son, Nnamdi Kanu, remains in jail. And I'm supposed to shed tears. I hate to say this, but there's a popular saying in Igbo that says, Ochegbuom na father na agbara odibo nwụrụ. The plight of Igbos in Nigeria, especially in the last 9 years under President Buhari, former President Buhari, and now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the plight of Igbos have been despicable. Upon all the achievements of Igbos and everything Igbos contribute to Nigeria, they continue to have to prove themselves to Nigerians. And I don't think Igbos need to prove themselves to Nigeria. The reason Igbos have spent decades trying to prove themselves to Nigeria, it's not necessarily because of what the Fulani does to Igbos. It's obvious the Fulani does not like the Igbos. I'm not even sure they don't like the Igbos. I think they are threatened by the success of Igbos. The reason Igbos have gone through what they are going through in Nigeria, it's not necessarily because Buhari didn't like Igbos or Bola Ahmed Tinubu doesn't like Igbos. Those are irrelevant. What's relevant is what are Igbos doing to help their plight in Nigeria. Every segment of Nigeria have an equivalent of Ohaneze and Igbo. Yorubas have Afenifere. The Fulanis and the Hausas have their Northern People's Congress and all the pseudo groups in the north that continue to go to Abuja, where everything is distributed from in Nigeria, to advocate for their people and their regions. The Delta people advocate for Delta. Who advocates for the Igbo man? In the short time Iwuanyanwu was president of Ohaneze and Igbo, besides lofty press conferences and lip service, what did Iwuanyanwu achieve for Igbo? In the time when we started hearing about Iwuanyanwu, which is early 80s, mid 80s, and his construction company, Heidel Anamic or something like that, what did his company, what landmark did his company leave in Igbo land to say that this guy achieved success through his company? He got a lot of contracts from the federal government and state governments and military and all that to do things. What did he build in Igbo land? I would like an Igbo person, especially the ones who would challenge my discussion today, to take me to Igbo land, starting in Imo State, and point out to me economically empowering things that Iwuanyanwu did in Igbo land to help the cause of Igbo. With all his stature, with all the financial achievement, in the end, in the last 10 years, Iwuanyanwu was nothing but a social welfare benefactor. Ajib, any government in power. He did not have the guts because he had not prepared himself to be in a position to have that guts to challenge the shame that has ruled Imo State since 1999. Or Hakim Rochas, and now they imposed Ozodema, a man the stature of Iwuanyanwu could not look those crooked men in the face and speak truth to power, because he had reduced himself to a position where he depends on whatever they give him to help sustain his lifestyle, because all the achievement he had in the past, he squandered without leaving any legacy that will continue to make him a man of stature until his death. With all that said, I continue to say, may his soul rest in peace. May he find peace with God, the peace he did not give his people because of his lack of ability to stand up and be counted on behalf of Igbo. Ifeanyi Ubah died a few days ago in London. May his soul rest in peace. And I mean that from my heart. It touched my heart to watch this video that I'll show you, just a brief part of it, where he touched down in London with his family, beautiful family. And he was singing the praises of the Lord. And you could see the love between him and his children and his wife. Beautiful scene. I respect that. But beyond photo opportunities and beautiful optics, what legacy does Ifeanyi Ubah leave for younger Igbos? Ifeanyi Ubah died at 52 years old, the tender age of 52 years old, at which point billions of dollars have passed through his hands. How can Ifeanyi Ubah account for the billions of dollars that passed through his hands in comparison to a person like Cosmos Maduka, the owner of Hoschari's enterprises in Nigeria, and what he does for humanity and employment, tangible employment, not fly-by-night employment of Nigerians and Igbo people? Igbos have 5 state governors today, and they're advocating for a 5th Igbo state. Not a Neoma state, which will add a 7th Igbo state, but I'm saying they're advocating for a 5th Igbo state within the core Igbo area of Nigeria, not across the Niger. How are Igbos holding those 5 state governors accountable? Fulanis and Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his likes in Nigeria are not responsible for the sadness that Igbo land is today. Igbo leaders are responsible for the shame that Igbo land is today. I live in America. I'd love to go to Nigeria. I'd love to spend time in Igbo land. I'd love to spend time in my hometown. But if I pack up today and go to Nigeria, everybody who knows me will wonder if a knot is loose in my head, especially venturing into Igbo land. We like to fool ourselves and say it's all in the head, nothing is going on. I was there in December, I moved around freely, everything. Great. We celebrate you. If you're honest with yourself, you know you didn't move around freely. You know that every second you were in Igbo land, you were watching your back. And this is where we have state governors who collect security stipends to secure their states. The bandits are running the asylum. Among those bandits are the glorified bandits we celebrate. They are billionaires and millionaires in dollars. They collect money to do things to benefit humanity, and that humanity being Igbos being part of it. And they pocket all the money. They dupe the people around them. They dupe even their own relatives in their own hometowns, whose only crime was to come to help rescue them from a difficult time that they claim the federal government or enemies within Nigeria are trying to hurt them because they are Igbo people. And a good Igbo person comes to their rescue, and what does he get in return? Betrayal, unpaid millions of dollars, not millions of naira. As we mourn Emmanuel, Iwuanyanwu, and Ifeanyi Ubah today, and as we pray for God to give their souls peaceful rest, let's take this time of mourning to also think about the living among the billionaires and millionaires in dollars in Igbo land. Let's take time today to think about how we can hold these people accountable. Igbos have to look within and really take a second critical look at the people we admire as role models and the people we admire as success stories. All that glitters is not gold. It's time to take a good look at the shine and see the shines that need to be in jail and put them in jail where they belong, and give opportunities to Igbos who have the will and the wherewithal to work to develop an Igbo. It's time to stop blaming the Fulani and Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Buhari for the ills of an Igbo. It's time to look within and see that an Igbo is only what it is, bad, because Igbos have refused to hold Igbos accountable for their responsibilities to Igbo land. Ladies and gentlemen, as I say, may the souls of Emmanuel, Iwuanyanwu, and Ifeanyi Ubah rest in peace. This is Fred Nwankwo, once again coming to you from our studios in Chicago with another edition of Bull Talk on Island TV. And until next time, good night and God bless.
Onye mazolo bio akwa nwa mazolo bio Max ịbịa bunye kwanu mo no fube nazo Ulaga ni piazugo Mmanwu ulaga do ni piazugo Akwa nwanwu ilochi yo biko rapuzo Kona bazia Edogu kenenu mikechofo Ama kwa mnika gogodia Waligwe kwelo Ikejo mabele bege Hey Igbo Edogu kenenu mikechofo Ama kwa mnika gogodia Waligwe kwelo Ikejo mabele bege Hey Igbo Eku kampu nekene Omogo ndị nsọ Chukwu emeka lumo Ike Chukwu negaje Esi nwanne m ekene Ịlapụl ife niile na-eme wee bịa Nke gosili na anyị na gị bụ nwanne wisdom ga-adị Ka nye gị maịkị ka ogobanya bụ egwu Isili mmaksi ọ bụ na-etiri egwu a Malụkwa malụ n'imego m ife ọjọọ Wee sị gị nwanne m ife ọbụ na ịchọlụ na ngeme Wisdom onume ekene gị Bama nwe iyo biko lapụ Nabasị ya Zoro, 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 zoro Duru joy na bugwa Hausa Sokoto Ujembe mwilo Anu solo nwe manofia nara Onye